Hello and welcome to my retro watches. Now if you're watching this video live as it goes out, then I am back on YouTube. Many of you know that I am recovering from surgery for prostate cancer, so unfortunately I still can't really sit at the bench and make any content of repairs, but I can do a few reviews. So as you can see, we've got another San Martin. I did threaten that I've got quite a few of these, and let's review this one. So open the canister. What have we got? Well, we have a watch that I've already kind of reviewed, but it's now a bronze version. So this is the San Martin SN004 QB for bronze, and it's a bit of an upgrade as well from the other model that I showed. I'm just going to bring that one into view now. This actually has become my most worn San Martin, and we know that this was homaging a very well-known old Swiss brand worn by Sean Connery. Now I've really liked this one. The bronze one is still pretty decent. It's actually aging quite well, the bronze on this one. I've had it a number of months just in the box, and it's oxidizing quite nicely, but there has been some upgrades. I'll quickly talk about those now before we go out and talk about the specs and specifications. So you put them side by side. We've got a applied lume, I suppose, on the dial, printed onto the dial, but now on the new versions you have indices, raised indices, which are very nice indeed. And the other main upgrade is the movement. This one has the NH35 from Seiko, my love-hate movement, and this has got the ETA clone of the 2824, which is the PT5000. And I've got a few watches with the PT5000 movement in, and I'm finding them very good. High beat, 28,000 vibrations per hour, and seem to be very accurate on the Timegrapher, which we'll find out later. So that's the initial quick glimpse. Let's go outside, show it properly, talk about the specs and what you can get if you wanted to pick one of these up. First of all then, the disclaimer: San Martin have sent this watch to the channel for free. I don't have to send it back, so please bear that in mind. That said, you will still only get my honest review. So starting off, this is a bronze watch. Now I've never owned a bronze watch before. Had my eye on a few because they seem to be a bit more fashionable at the moment. I've also liked the idea that you can own something like this, and over the weeks, months and years it'll patina more and more. If you offer it up to more elements, it starts oxidizing, and it'll potentially start turning green at some point as well. I kind of find that quite fascinating, but I know that's not going to be for everybody. So if you like a nice clean looking watch at all times, maybe a bronze isn't for you, or you're going to have to keep polishing it all the time to make sure it still looks tip top. I'm actually quite excited to see how this is going to patina over the coming years. Let's start off with the watch dimensions. The case diameter is 38mm. It's exactly the same as the steel variant, and that is a real nice sweet spot for me. Anything sub 40 seems to fit my wrist very well, and I'm sure there's a lot of people that appreciate the smaller size out there. The notches on the bezel do slightly protrude, so if you took those into consideration, then realistically it would be a 39mm case. The thickness is 12.9mm on my vernier, which is just slightly over ½ inch. The lug tip to lug tip is 46mm, and it's only supplied on this strap that you can see. So this time there's no messing around with male end link conversion to female like I had to do on the steel variant. Here is a wrist shot of what it looks like on my wrist, and my wrist is 7 inches, which is 18 centimeters. The lug width is 20mm, so of course get your straps out because this is going to suit a whole host of straps there. Let's move on to the dial then and start with the indices. So on this bronze version we've got applied indices, and they are full of a lighter coloured lume. Now the original steel version had printed lume directly onto the dial, which was obviously why it was homaging a particular watch. So to change it to these applied indices is a different change, an interesting change. I actually prefer it. It's making the watch look a lot more original, and it's a bit of a cleaner look, and now it doesn't have that yellowy trying to be vintage vibe about it. So improvement in my books. We have a very basic standard minute track running around, but then it does the job nicely. Nice Mercedes handset. Again, finished very, very well. Shame on this particular version the second hand isn't capped like it is on many of the new modern San Martins. The script has changed. So on the steel one we had the script of San Martin at just under the 12. Now you have their hexagonal logo. Whether you like that or not, some people are split, I do believe. I personally like the logo, and I'm not sure if I like it printed. I do prefer it applied. And then of course down at 6 we've got the automatic and the water resistance rating. So overall I do quite like the dial. It is improvement. It's making the watch look much more original rather than a homage. Okay, on to the bezel then. So the bezel is 120 click, as you can see here. It clicks really nicely. It's got good action. It feels nice actually. The bezel is solid bronze, so I was expecting it to feel slightly different, but it doesn't. It just feels like a normal bezel. The insert is ceramic. As you can see, it's highly polished or very, very shiny, and as a result you get a ton of fingerprints on this one. And now, of course, the classic lume shot. The lume is pretty good. It's C3, so it's going to glow the sort of greeny colour that you can see now. It does last longer than it does on the steel version, the printed dial. I guess that's because the indices have got more lume in them, and it's glowing a little bit lighter as well. Glows very well for quite a long time. It does fade out, and the video sort of shows it fading more than it really does because the camera just can't really cope filming in the dark really. Over to the case finishing then. San Martin are really well known for their case finishing, and I've championed them in many videos. I've always found their polishing exceptional and their brushwork fantastic as well. However, on a bronze case it's slightly different because the material is softer and harder to get those sort of finishes, and equally as soon as it's done it's already starting to oxidize. Mine has lost all of its shine now. We are quite a few months on since I actually filmed some of this video footage that you can see, but I'm loving that patina anyway. But what we have essentially is some polished surfaces or polished chamfer around the edge of the case, and then we've got plenty of brushed finishing. It is done very well, but I don't think you're buying this watch to be shiny, are you, at the end of the day? Now I must quickly mention the crown as well, because the crown is also bronze, and that's aging really, really nicely because obviously it's the one thing you touch quite a few times. It's 7mm in diameter, so it's quite a big crown. Of course it functions perfectly as it should, and it's got their logo engraved on the end as well, which again I think is going to age nicely and give it that good patina. And if we flip it over, we've got that really boring case back again. I don't know what San Martin are doing. They are just neglecting their case backs completely. There's no markers on it, no nothing. In theory you need one of those special spanners to open it, but trust me, you don't. You can use one of the sticky balls and you'll get the case back off, no problem on this. But I really do wish that San Martin would either put their model number on there or their branding, or do a nice embossed case back like other micro brands are doing. Seems like they just keep missing the trick with the case back, and definitely room for improvement. And before we get on to the movement, let's just quickly tell you about the strap. So the strap is full leather. It's actually quite thick. It's about 4mm. It's really, really supple. It's very soft. As you can see, it's got an interesting lot of leather texture to it. It's quite loose. I think it suits the watch really well. However, it is supposed to be a bit of a dive watch, and if you wanted to get that into the seawater to get the patina on the case, then you would definitely 100% not be using this strap. But of course it's 20mm lugs, so you can change it to whatever you like. The buckle as well, by the way, that of course is also bronze, so that is aging as well. And now the best bit for me, which of course is the movement shot. So this is being powered by the PT5000, which is a Chinese recreation of the ETA 2824. This is a high beat movement, or a theory high beat movement at 28,000 vibrations per hour. But I have to say, just look at it. Honestly, I don't think you can fault it. I mean, one day I'm going to take one of these apart and actually have a proper look inside. But visually, it looks splendid. Some nice finishing to that rotor. All the components look nice. There is some gold components in there as well, which don't really sort of come out very well on the light. But very, very well finished. And there's a lot of preconceptions about stuff from the Far East, but I've got to say, this movement sits every time I've seen one of these and I put it on the Timegrapher, it never disappoints. Of course, I've got to come back in maybe a year or two's time and reevaluate, but certainly from an aesthetics point of view, it's doing ticking all the right boxes for me, put it that way. So now, of course, I better put the money where my mouth is and let's put it on the Timegrapher. So here we go on the Timegrapher, and that is the reading as you get it out the box. Look, so beat error is 0 and we're plus 9 seconds. Nice amplitude as well. I told you these PT 5000 movements, they always seem to be really, really good. Now we'll just put it in a couple of positions just to be sure. So we'll put crown down. And again, we're just seeing it following the same kind of line. It's going to take a minute to settle. Again, that's pretty good. Go the other way, crown up, of course. That's nice as well, look. Still very, very accurate. And then just for kicks, dial down. I know there's a lot of snowstorm, but again, accurate in every position. I've not seen it go anywhere near above 8 or 9 seconds. I know it says plus 163 at the moment, but that's completely erroneous. It'll figure that one out in just a moment, I'm sure. Yeah. How long we had to wait for that to settle down. But okay, so there we go. PT 5000 movement is a success. So let's sum it up and talk about the price. So this bronze version is actually on their AliExpress store as of today. It's £288, and that excludes any taxes you might have. It's a fair price, but it's still quite high in my opinion. But of course, like everything on AliExpress, there's a sale coming just around the corner. I believe it's at the end of August, and you can now already put this in your basket and it brings it down to £255, and that's not a bad price, to be honest with you, for a bronze watch. This has got the right proportions for me. If I was in the market for one, I think, to be honest, I would certainly consider picking this up. If you didn't like this tarnished look, by the way, they do provide you with some very strange little sort of polishing stick here. I am reluctant to use this because at the end of the day, it is an abrasive, and any abrasive you're going to use is actually removing some material of some sort. So forget that thing for now. By comparison, the original one, if you call it original, because I think this is still the version 3, this is £205 as of today, and then in the sale it's £277, and for that you get the bracelet. Of course, you now get female end links as standard, I do believe. You can even get it with the upgraded dial with those applied indices rather than the printed ones. I think that might cost you a little bit more, but certainly worth considering. I still prefer the steel version just because I like a bracelet. But that said, I'm going to really enjoy watching this patina. And if you follow me on my social media, then you're going to see, hopefully, as it happens over the next months and years. Hopefully, I'm going to let it turn green and then show you again. So there we go. That's my review. Lots of pluses about this. You can actually get it with the Sellita SW200 movement, which is a Swiss movement, but that's going to cost you at least another £100. And to be honest with you, The SW200 is almost an ETA clone as well, so you are, I don't know what you're paying for, you're just paying for vanity of having a Swiss movement, but there you go. So that is the end of this review. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, of course, please hit the like button, because that's going to help the channel immensely. Leave all your comments below, good and bad. I'll read them all. I'll try to reply to as many as I can. Now, also, just please bear with me for those who are loyal to the channel here really for the restorations. The restorations are coming back, okay? It's just taking me some time to recover from this operation. It's quite difficult for me to actually sit on the seat that I'm sitting on now because it's quite painful. But once that pain subsides, the camera is going to come out, and I'm going to hopefully do the bullhead along with many other watches for you all to enjoy my endeavours of trying to fix these things. So for now, just to keep the channel going, I've got some reviews to do, so YouTube doesn't hate me for not uploading content. So like I say, comment below, like and subscribe if you're new to the channel. Join the Facebook group Retro and Vintage Watches and Restorations. There's a link down below for that also. And then lastly, obviously, it's a bit touched to the bone because I've been suffering with prostate cancer. If you are a man aged between 45 and 70 plus, consider getting your PSA checked regularly, at least once every couple of years. PSA test is a simple blood test. You can do it along with all your other tests that you can have with your bloods. And trust me, it might just save your life. It saved my life. I have no symptoms of this disease whatsoever, and had I not heard a radio campaign a few months back, I would be blissfully unaware at the moment, and I might not even make 60 as a result of that. So I've got that radio station to thank, and because of that, I am going to constantly nag you all in all the videos really from now on. Please look after yourselves, take charge of your own health, because no one else is going to do that for you. Okay, that's it. Sermon ended. I'll see you in the next video very soon. Bye for now.